Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. So, this is Tamika's Den. Okay, I am Tamika, and I'm doing a review on Sistas. Okay, Still Waters Run Deep, Season 4, Episode 2. And guys, this episode had me cracking up, y'all. I don't know about y'all, but it had me damn dying, okay? And so, we basically picked up where we left off where the lady had came in and let them know that Hayden is dead, right? And so Fatima's just like real nonchalant, and Andy is like, first asking her like, "Girl, are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I gotta get out of here." So she's like, "No, where are you going? I don't think you should leave." And then she's like, "Andy, sit your butt back down." And then she sits down and she's like, "What?" And so she keeps asking her like, do you know anything about this? Because she was like, when she came in here and told us about, what happened to Hayden, you didn't look shocked at all. And she talking about, oh, I got to work on my face. And so, I got to work on my shock face. And then she's like, I'm joking, I'm joking. So she keeps asking her over and over and over. I said, well, damn, Andy, you asking her more damn questions than you done asked Gary, okay? About what the hell he got going on. And so she's like, please, I'm saying, if it's anything, then tell me. That's the only way that I can help you. And Fatima's basically like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing to tell you about. It's fine. And Andy is saying, I don't like this. And she's like, wait, do you think Zach has something to do with this? And she's like, no, Zach wouldn't do anything like this. And she was like, you don't even know Zach like that. I'm like, okay, again, Andy, whatever. But she was like, basically telling her he do have a temper. And she was like, yeah, but not like that. She was like, no, he wouldn't do anything like this. And so she was like, that man, was bothering you and y'all had issues. And then, Fatima's like, I do know Zach. And then Andy's like, fine. And so she was like, so Hayden's just dead? And Fatima's like, I know, right? And then she's basically like, this is not making any sense. And so, Fatima's like, what? And she was like, is there any way that you could have been involved? And so basically, that Zach could have been involved. And then she's like, I don't know, but maybe somebody paid him a visit, girl. And she was like, what that got to do with me? And then Andy was like, let me tell you what that got to do with you, okay? If you just so happen to have paid somebody to, come and give him a visit, and he's dead as a result of it, you could be charged with his damn death. And so she was like, look, it's all good, and I gotta go, girl. I'm getting the hell up out of here. And she was telling her, don't leave. And she was like, it's all good, Andy. She was like, can I please go? So Andy like, okay, girl, go ahead about your business. And so as soon as Fatima leaves, Andy calls Zach. And first she leaves him a message. She doesn't get him. And then she calls him back again. And so basically, she's telling him that she needs to talk to him. And of course, automatically, he thinks that she wants to talk to him about Karen, but it ain't Karen. She want to talk to you about Zach, okay? And so she's like, this is not about, Karen. And he's like, is Fatima okay? And she's like, I don't know. And then he's like, what the hell happened? And she was like, basically telling him like Hayden is dead. And he was like, what? Are you being serious right now? For real? He was like, what the hell? Because, at first he was saying like, if there's anything wrong with Fatima or anything happened to her, he would kill Hayden. And she like, don't say that, especially don't say that over the damn phone, okay? And so she's like, I'm gonna need you to, as soon as you hang up with me, call Fatima, tell her to come straight to you. I'm on my way to you, and don't say anything over the phone. And then Zach is like, what the hell? And he basically says, okay, and hangs up, okay? And so then we get, Karen in the shop. And baby, let me tell y'all, okay, Karen had a shop full of people. It was so crowded up in there. She was doing some chick here that told her she wanted to come and get her hair done because she got this date tonight and is with this country boy and he's white. And so, I'm like, it's only one country boy that's in the whole damn Georgia, because for whatever reason, Karen automatically thinks that she knows who the hell this person is. She trying to be sneaky about it and ask the girl what's his name, and she gonna talk about, oh, she had met him at a gas station and she don't even remember the damn name. So when he comes, can Karen please ask, his name for her, because she don't want it to be funny. And Karen is like, absolutely, sure, I could do that. And so basically I'm like, so this is gonna be Preston, basically, okay? That's coming in, I'm assuming. But I was just thinking like, okay, he's the only way person it could be, because that's exactly where Karen's mind went to. And so basically Pam comes in and she was like, oh, this is what I like to see. It's busy in here. And Karen, of course, is basically saying, well, why don't you get busy with answering that phone? And Pam tells her she should be thanking her. And she was like, well, thanking you for what exactly? And she was like, well, somebody just so happened to call the Board of Health on that guy that stole the clients. And that's why all these clients is up in here. So I'm like, okay, Pam, come through, bitch. But when Karen is asking her, like, you did that, she like, I ain't admitting to nothing. I ain't had nothing to do with that. I ain't saying all that, but I'm just saying somebody did, okay? And so basically that's how Karen got all the people back. And the girl was basically apologizing that she had went to somebody else, and she was like, oh, it's okay, girl. And I'm like, whatever. I don't know if I would have been saying it's okay. They all hightailed it away from you. And so we have Maurice in the bank. Him and Sabrina's at work. And he's asking Sabrina, who's this guy that Calvin is hooking him up with? Does she know anything about it? Does she know the person? She's like, wait, just wait and see. And we have Q call him up, and he answers the damn phone again. I don't understand why Maurice keep answering this damn phone, to be honest. And Q is telling him he made a deal, and by him making a deal and flipping, that the people he flipped on will basically, want to kill him. So he was like, oh, Lord, that's going to be a problem. I'm sorry to hear that. And he was like, you sorry I'm getting out of here? He was like, well, that was fast. You barely spent any time in there. And so he was like, the only way that he can get out, though, part of the condition is that he have an address that he put down that he going to be staying at. And he gave them his address. And he like, well, why the hell would you do that? You better go and change that damn thing. And he's like, can you think about it? He said, yes, I thought about it, and the answer is no. And I'm like, yes, I'm with Maurice. Like, Q, boy, bye. Get your ass on. You done tried to kill him. You done put his damn job in jeopardy, came there and robbed him, whatever have you. And you really think that he gonna have your damn address down? And I guess by telling him that the people was gonna kill him or whatever the case may be is supposed to make him feel bad to let him stay there. I'm like, okay, and then he gonna put his damn life in jeopardy for you to stay with him? Like, no, you bugging out. So I don't know where they going with that storyline, but I was like, boy, bye, get the hell up out of here. And so I was happy that Maurice was like, what the hell? Like, no, that's a no. I thought about it, and it's a no. Okay, use somebody else's address, take my name up off there. And so, when we see Karen again, she's basically calling Danny, and she's like making small talk at first, like, what are you doing? Danny's like, I'm at work, I'm looking at this guy. So, Karen is thinking she's meaning she's looking at him in a romantic way, like he's cute or whatever. So she's like, oh, wow, he's cute. And then she's like, no, it could possibly be some, trafficking going on. And she's like, what? She was like, are you in danger? Are you okay? She's like, no, I'm good, girl. She was like, well, what was you calling me for? What's going on? And so she's like, well, my client said that this white guy basically supposed to be coming to pick her up. A country guy, okay, is coming to pick her up and take her on a date. And Danny is kind of like, why the hell are you telling me about this? And she was like, oh, I just thought that you should know. And she was like, no, you was just trying to be messy, Karen. Not everybody likes being miserable, and it's like you miserable, so you want other people to be miserable. And not everybody tells a guy that they want to be with them, and then they really doing this and this and that. And I was like, yeah, Karen, you was trying to be a little bit messy, but at the same time, it's your girl, and that's what you do for your girls. You will call them up and be like, girl, but I would have thought you would at least waited till you knew and confirmed that it was him. She talking about, well, you should, be here and come straight to the shop or whatever, I guess, so you would be able to see it. So nonetheless, Danny is basically like, girl, I gotta go. I'm at work and I got stuff to do. And they hang up. And as soon as she hang up with her, she calls Andy, asks Andy what she's doing now. Of course, Andy is going over there to Zach's for that whole situation to talk to him and Fatima, and she don't want to tell her that. So she just tells her that she's going home. And she was like, oh, well, can you come here? So then she says, well, I'll have to make a stop first, and then I'll come there. She's like, everything's all right? She's like, yeah, I just want to talk to my friend. So she was like, okay, well, then I'll go ahead and make the stop first, and then, I'll be on my way to you. And I think Karen has basically ended up saying, well, what about if I come there to your house? And she was like, okay, cool, that's even better. And so basically, Andy go ahead to, try to get over there to Danny and rather to freaking Fatima and them. And so then when she hangs up the phone from Karen, Danny sees the guy coming out with some girl that's basically looking like she crying. When she got off the plane, he had went and grabbed her arm and they walking out. And Danny basically stops them and was like, come on, sweetie, come on with me or whatever. And he's like, what are you doing? You making a big mistake. You don't know what you're doing and all this stuff. He was like, what's your name again? And she was like, don't worry about my name. And basically, the airport cop comes over to see what's happening. And she's like, oh, he's trying to traffic this girl. He's been in here all day doing absolutely nothing. And now, this girl gets off the plane. She's looking like she's in distress. And I'm not letting her leave with him or whatever have you. And so first the guy's saying you're making a mistake and asking her name and all of that, like I said. And then he turns and tries to run. And all of a sudden, Danny turned into a damn football player and basically took her damn heel off and launched that shit and hit him in his head. And of course, it makes him all fall out and pass out on the floor. I'm like, really, a shoe gonna be doing all that now? I'm sure that damn stiletto hurt, don't get me wrong, but it ain't gonna be knocking you out. And then the guard comes and he's asking, are you okay? And Danny's like, yeah, I'm good. And he was like, well, I was asking him. She like, what the hell you asking, him for? Or whatever the case may be. And so basically, then she went back to where the girl was at, like, come on, sweetie, I got you. So, I guess maybe that was a good call from Danny, and she was peeping things out. Okay, I don't know. And then Maurice comes home and he's like, basically have Calvin asking him, do he want a drink? And he's like, no. Do I need a drink? He's like, I'm gonna have to let my hair down. I might have to change these shoes. He was like, come on, tell me about this person. Let me see their social media, something, that you trying to basically hook me up with. And so he's like, listen, is a good friend of mine. And he was like, well, any friend of yours is probably a piece of shit anyway. And he was like, yeah, well, all right, if you say so. So he was like, you sure you're not going to have this drink? I'm going to ask you again. And he was like, well, damn, do I need one? And he was like, you might need 2 or 3. So at this point, Maurice takes the drink and basically is drinking it or whatever the case may be. And he's telling him, to calm down, relax himself or whatever. I'm like, oh boy, we'll see, because Calvin's sitting here with his little lace shirt on or whatever the case may be, getting ready to go out on his date with Sabrina. And so then we had Fatima come in to Zach's place, and she's like, basically saying hi to him, and he's like, what's going on? And she was like, kind of a rough day. And he like, you want to tell me about it? And then she's like, nah, never mind, I don't think I do. And he's like, well, Andy already done called me. And she's like, oh, she did? And she was like, oh, well, they doing a lot of work in this place. They got a lot of stuff done. And they sure did. They moving. That place look completely different. And so then she like, you hungry? Why don't we order some food? And he was like, she told him, stay calm. He was like, I am calm. Tell me what the hell is going on. He was like, I can't believe this. And so Andy just walks her ass in there. And he was like, don't you lock? And she was like, no, not when I'm trying to figure out what the hell you did. And he was like, I didn't do nothing, because he's asking Fatima what she did before Andy walked in. And he was like, don't look at me. And so she's like, both of y'all is going to go to jail. That's what's going to happen. She was like, and Fatima talking about some no case, no face. She just keep repeating that. No face, no case. I was like, Lord. So she was like, a man is dead. Y'all better tell me what's going on. And he was like, Zach basically saying, I liked Hayden. And then Fatima talking about God is good. And she was like, thank God. And so, Andy is saying, I can fix this. I know a criminal attorney, but I need y'all to tell me what the hell is going on. And I can set up and meet with her, and we can deal with this. And so Fatima's telling her we don't need it. And Andy's like, yes, we do. And Fatima's saying we didn't do anything. And she was like, there you go. And so she was like, y'all look guilty as hell. That's what Andy was saying to them. And he was like, nah, I'm not guilty. I'm happy. And so Fatima is, she's saying to Fatima, there is damn cameras in the garage. And she was like, no, there's no cameras by his car. We've been over this 1,000 times. And she was like, no face, no case, we good. And so Andy tells her, listen, because Zach is like, are you sure we good? And he basically asking the same questions. And then Andy tells her, listen, okay, first of all, you don't know that after the different situations that went down in the garage before, I have went in and requested more cameras being put. So you don't know, put in the garage. So you don't know where the hell the cameras is at. And then Zach is like, wait a minute. Oh, God, like, what happened? Are we sure about this? And he was like, well, I'll go in and tell them that I had to, hit him because he hit me first and I dipped and flipped and hit him. So, she's like, he's a terrible liar. And he was like, that's what happened. And so Fatima says, stop. stop it, you know. And she was like, first of all, he's not dead. And I'm like, I knew it. We couldn't be so damn lucky for him to be dead. And they both were like, what? And she's like, yeah, I called the hospital earlier and he's still alive. You know, he's like a damn cockroach. You can't get rid of his ass. So I was like, I said that a while back, didn't I? And he was like, okay. So she was like, yeah, I basically went with my brass knuckles. She telling them, you know, I popped his ass a real quick 2-piece. And then Zach talk about, yeah, baby, get it. And so she was like, listen, I made it look good. And then he hit me. And they like, what? And she like, yeah. And she shows them, you know, the mark on her face or whatever the case may be. And so they like, oh man. So of course Zach is pissed off, like, you know, I'll go to that damn hospital and kill him. You know, hit you in the damn face. So then they like, no, you know, you can't do that or whatever the case may be. Do not say that. And so basically, she was like, after that, you know, these guys came and they did whip his ass or whatever the case may be. And, you know, she said, I knew this was gonna bruise really bad. And then they was, you know, Andy's like, who are you, my God? And then she was like, oh, it gets better. She said, you know, I had my boys park the van next to his car. After he hit me, they got out, beat his ass, put him to sleep. And Zach talk about, I love you. And she talk about, I love you too. And she was like, oh, it gets better, boo. So he was like, it's more than that. She was like, yeah. She said, then they put him on the hood of his car naked. And they over here like, oh, and giving high fives. Yo, that had me cracking up. And so, you know, he's basically like, so we good then. And Andy is looking at both of them like, yo, y'all are sick motherfuckers and y'all deserve each other, okay? Like, what are y'all talking about? And they was like, he's alive, who cares? So we don't need the lawyer. We good. They doing a little dance together and everything. And Andy is like, it's still illegal, you know? Everything you said is pretty much against the law. And she was like, girl, come on. She was like, let me show you around the house. You don't want to go upstairs and look around? Andy's like, no, I want to leave y'all two crazy damn fools right here by yourselves, okay? No, thank you. And so she was like, I just want you to see it. And she's like, no, I'm good. She was like, you safe, you good. And he was like, yeah, I'm good. I found the love of my life. And she was like, okay, good. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my behind home. Like, I will catch y'all the next time. And he's basically saying she's the perfect one. She's the perfect match. And he's, you know, Fatima saying he good, we good. And she was like, y'all have your phone. She was like, call 911 if you need to. And so Fatima talking about, I'm 911, and Zach like, she's 911, you know, and he's like, I've been arrested 12 times. There's no place. She's like, you know, we good, we safe. And so Andy says, I'm gonna go to my safe place then, and I'm gonna leave y'all alone because I'm a bit nervous. And then they telling her, don't be nervous or whatever the case may be. But that whole scene had me cracking up, and they like, come over anytime, Andy. So as soon as she leave, they talking about, give me 1, 2, 3, and, you know, slap vibes with each other. And then they talk about, come on, let's get it, and, you know, taking their clothes off and running up the damn stairs. I'm like, Lord, only damn Fatima and Zach. So Hayden is not dead, unfortunately. His ass is still the hell around, okay, y'all? And we know he gonna probably still come doing some mess. He ain't gonna still want to sit his behind down, all right? And so basically after that, we see Andy drive up to her building, you know, in her parking lot, and there's a car in her spot. So she like, what the hell is this? And she basically about to leave a note on the car. And here come raggedy ass damn Gary. Oh, don't do that, you know, don't do that. That's your car. I bought it for you. It's in your name. And, you know, I'm trying to win you back, and I'm trying to prove to you that, I really want you, and I'm not going to give up. And he was like, you know, all the bags in the car is yours. It's $1 million worth of jewelry. It's all the clothes and designer clothes you like, and bags, and everything is yours. And I got more in store for you, and all of that type of stuff. And she's like, what? You know, because at first she was like, well, move your damn car and move whatever damn bags you got in there for whatever chick too. Oh, no, everything is yours. And he was like, here, I'm not moving it, basically giving her the key and telling her to move it. And so, you know, she's like, what do you think? You could buy me? And I'm like, yeah, pretty much, Andy. That's exactly what he think. And so he's talking about, no, but I just want to prove, you know what I'm saying, my love to you, and want to prove that I want to be with you. And all of that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, boy, Gary, bye. Like, we don't want to hear from you. Okay? We do not want to hear from you at all. And so, she starts to, like, if she's getting emotional and about to cry, oh no, I can't take it, and don't do that, Gary. Well, she wasn't that extreme, but she did start having the tears and a little shaky voice coming on, or whatever the case may be. And he kept telling her that he was gonna earn her back, and she was like, it's too late. You can't earn me back. We've already bypassed that. And she was like, what do you think? Just because I like designer things, you're gonna just buy that, and I'm gonna be like jumping back into your arms. And I'm like, yeah, Andy, I wouldn't be shocked if you do. I hope you don't, but I definitely would not be shocked if you do. And so, he's basically, she's like, what are you trying to do, Andy? What the hell you look like he trying to do? And he was like, basically, like I said, just telling her that he's not trying to buy her back, but he is gonna do everything that he could possibly do to get her back, or whatever the case may be. And she was like, first she was saying you got a $500,000 car and $10,000 worth of clothes. And he was like, well, actually, there's $1 million worth of, jewelries, bags, clothes, and all of that as well. That's when he basically threw that part in there. And we was like, we don't care, Gabby. We don't care what you have. Okay, just get the hell up out of here. And he's talking about Birkins, Louis Vuittons, and all of this stuff. And so she was like, is that supposed to excite me? And she was like, I do like black designers too. I don't know what the hell that had to do with anything. And then he was like, yeah, I know that, but I'm just basically, so in the meantime, that Gary's trying to say all of this or whatever, she's like, look, I couldn't deal with this right now. Like, go ahead about your business. So as soon as he leaves, she basically takes pics and sends it to Karen, And then we see Karen sitting in her office, and she gets the text message, and she's looking like, what the hell? And she calls, Andy. And so Andy is like, she was like, Karen was like, what is this? And Andy was like, it's a Rolls Royce. She was like, I see that. And she was like, Gary got that for me. And she's like, what? And she was like, so what he think? He could just come and bring you things or whatever, and you supposed to take him back? And she was like, I guess, I don't know. She was like, he got me a Rolls Royce, clothes, bags, and jewelry, and all of this other stuff. And so she was like, I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it. And then she's like, well, if you don't want it, girl, it's in your name or whatever. She said, yeah. She said, well, then go ahead and sell it. And I think that's the best advice that damn Karen has ever given anybody, okay? She was like, keep it, or either sell it, do whatever the hell you want to do with it, because if he put it in your name, then that's what you could do. Him giving you this stuff does not mean that you have to sit there and take it back or be with him. She was like, or do you want to, be with him? And of course, right now, Andy is still saying no. And she's saying she don't want this stuff. So then Karen tells her that she's, still coming or whatever. And she's like basically telling her to hurry up. And so then we had got like Maurice and Calvin at the house. The date finally shows up. Honey child, I don't even know what the hell Calvin was thinking about, okay? This date that he walked, as soon as he walked in the door, I knew that was not nobody that had any interest to damn Maurice, okay? And he was like, what the hell? Do you know the guys that I usually date? Have you seen anybody? How long have you been around me? How long have you been my roommate? He's like, for weeks, a couple weeks, or whatever the case may be. And the guy comes in, and at first he's introducing him. Damn, Maurice keep calling him some other damn name, every name but his name. He keep correcting him like, yes. And Maurice is like, whatever, girl. And he was like, it's basically like two cats. And then he was saying two hoes. He was trying to give freaking Maurice every hint that it was possible. He was like, now we could be girlfriends, we could hang out, but that's the most it would be. This is not my type. And Calvin was saying, well, I thought I would hook you up with something a little different than what you've been used to dealing with, because obviously that hasn't been working for you. And Maurice was like, yeah, but no, girl, that's not gonna work with this. And it's like he keep trying to give him hints, and he's like, do you want to tell him or me? Because at one point he basically says to the guy like, oh, he thought I would love you. And he was like, well, everybody loves me. Yeah. He was like, no, he thought I was in love with you, because basically Calvin would be in love with you. Because basically Calvin was trying to say he's being down on the community, and he was like, I'm not being down on the community. He was like, me and him do not mix. It would be like bumping cats. And he started going like this. And then Calvin talked about, stop it. Don't embarrass me, cut it out. And then he, Maurice is like, I'm sorry. And so he starts like asking the guy, like I said, questions one by one. He's like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep asking you a whole bunch of questions, but what did he say about me? And what did he tell you was coming here for? And he's like, oh, to hang out. And he was like, oh, okay, hang out. And what you gonna do? He was like, now, like I said, he told him that he would be somebody he could love. Yeah, you gonna love me. He was like, okay, another question. He's like, I'm sorry to keep throwing them at you. I'm sorry it's so many. He was like, do you like? And then that's when the guy he asked caught on too and was like, oh, and he was like, yeah. He was like, oh no. He was like, Calvin, no, like no, you didn't think that, right? And then he was like, look, we could be girlfriends. And that's when he sat down and Maurice was like, yeah, I like your boots and da da da. So Calvin is like, I'm so confused. What is going on right now? And they basically was like, don't be confused. Just never do anything like this again, okay? And I'm like, Calvin, you had one damn job. Like, how the hell did you not pick up that this was not that type of mix? All right. And so I'm like, get out of here and go on your damn date, okay? And don't do no more matchmaking because that was all wrong. But then, Yaz does sit down and they basically do chit chat and they both, having jokes on Calvin at this point. And then, Calvin was saying he was about to leave and go on his date. And then Maurice was like, nah, sit your behind down. You ain't going nowhere. Okay, you could stay right up in here in this mess that you done created. That you obviously did not know anything what the hell you was doing. So that part with Maurice and the whole Calvin situation, matchmaking, definitely made me laugh. And Fatima and Zach, that had me, oh man, in tears. That was just really hilarious. But of course, we got to see what the heck is going to happen and what the outcome going to be with this whole mess. So then we get, Karen just finishing the girl hair. And when she turns around, it is Preston that comes walking his ass in to pick her up, just like we all thought. And basically she's like, oh, ask him his name, like she was telling her to. Karen asked him his name and he's like, Preston. And then she's saying, well, before she leaves, she gotta go ahead and pay for this due. I'll just put in okay. And of course Preston is talking about, oh, do you want me to pay for it? And he's telling her she look good and then she ready to go and all that. So then she was like, no, I'll pay. And she was like, yeah, she just met you. And so who does decide that they gonna pop their behind up and walk in right behind them while they there? But Danny ass, okay? And he turned around talking about, Danny? I guess he never got a chance to meet Karen and didn't know that was her friend or whatever. But Danny pops up behind up there. And I'm like, girl, Danny, why? For what? For what? Okay? Because you didn't want Preston. So what are you there for, girl? Why, girl? But basically, that's how it ends up going off with them two, staring at each other. And Karen shopping. She's like, hi. This was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I had a good laugh. Tell me in the comments if you guys liked it and what y'all thought, what y'all think gonna happen next, what y'all think Danny gotta say. Do you think she should be saying any damn thing? What did y'all think about that date that freaking Maurice, Calvin called himself hooking Maurice up with? Which how y'all think he gonna handle, this Q situation? What do you think? Do you think Andy is gonna take her behind back to Gary? Put it all in the comments, okay? And like, share, subscribe. Till next time, talk to y'all later. Toodaloo.